You go. All right. Good morning and welcome to the Maryland Public Service Commission's May 30th, 2018 administrative meeting. Before we get started this morning, we have some good news with some recent personnel changes at the Commission that became effective May 23rd. First, Ms. Kristen Lawrence has been appointed Senior Public Utility Law Judge, reporting to Terry Romine. Although we will miss her in her previous role as Associate General Counsel for the Commission, we are pleased that she is continuing service with the Commission as the newest Public Utility Law Judge. Second, Ms. Amanda Bess has been appointed as a new Senior Commission Advisor, supporting the Commissioners directly. As you are aware, Amanda was Assistant Director in our Energy Analysis and Planning Division, primarily responsible for analysis and coordination efforts with Empower Maryland program. Although she will be missed in the EAP division, we are excited to have her utilize her skills in her new advisory role. So please join me in congratulating both Kristen and Amanda in their new positions within the Commission, and we look forward to working with them in their new roles. Okay. All right, as our first order of business, we have two sets of minutes before us, one for May 16th and the other for May 23rd. So I move to approve both sets of minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are adopted. We'll now turn to our Executive Secretary to begin today's agenda.
Mr. Chairman, we don't have a consent agenda this morning, so the first item on the administrative agenda, item number 1, is Mid-Atlantic Renewables, LLC, filed a request to cancel its license to operate as an electricity broker in Maryland.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Kenneth Albert on behalf of staff. This item addresses a filing by Mid-Atlantic Renewables, LLC, that asks the Commission to cancel their authorization to operate as an electricity broker. They do not have any active customers in Maryland. They're up to date on all their assessments, and there are no complaints at the Office of External Relations involving the company. Therefore, staff recommends that the Commission cancel their authorization to operate as a broker.
All right, thank you. Do any commissioners wish to be recognized for questions? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move we cancel the company's license to operate as an electricity supplier in Maryland.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next item on the agenda, item number 2, is Bright Power, Inc., filed an application for a license to supply electricity or electric generation services in Maryland.
Good morning, Commissioners. Peter Wilson on behalf of staff. Pursuant to Public Utilities Article 7507, Bright Power has filed an application for a license to operate in Maryland as a broker of electricity in all Maryland service territories, serving commercial customers only. Staff has reviewed the application and has determined the company meets all requirements to grant authorization as an electricity broker as requested. The company has no complaint history in the 5 states in which it is currently doing business and has provided the bond required by COMAR. Staff has reviewed the company's training and marketing materials and website and finds them satisfactory. For these reasons, staff recommends the Commission grant the company a license to operate as an electricity broker in Maryland for commercial customers only in all Maryland service territories as requested, and direct the company to notify the Commission within 30 days of any changes to the information in its application.
All right, thank you. Do any commissioners wish to be recognized for questions? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move the Commission grant the company a license to operate as an electricity supplier in Maryland, limited to broker and aggregator services for the customer classes and service territories applied for and recommended by staff, and to further direct the company to file notice with the Commission within 30 days of any change to the information in the application.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion adopted.
Third item is One Energy Dorchester, LLC, filed a request to amend its Certificate of Public Convenience and Necessity. It's case number 9370.
Peter Wilson again for staff. One Energy Dorchester has requested an amendment to extend the commencement and completion of construction deadlines in its existing CPCN to build a 19.5 megawatt solar electric generator in Dorchester County, the first of which is set to expire on June 9th, 2018. That would be the commencement of construction deadline. The company states that a 3-year extension is necessary because changing economic conditions and a fall in the price of SREX necessitated the redesign of the project's interconnection from an anticipated connection with Delmarva's transmission system to a connection with Choptank's distribution system in order to make the project economically viable. The redesign required the company to withdraw its PJM position and restart the PJM review and approval process, thus making compliance with the CPCN's original deadline for commencement of construction and completion unattainable. PPRP has reviewed the request of the extension and supports its approval subject to 6 conditions set forth in its correspondence of May 7, which was filed at mail log 220327. The company has accepted these conditions. Staff has conducted its own review of the request for an extension, as well as the proposed change in the interconnection and its potential effects. Staff concurs with PPRP that the extension should be granted with the protections afforded by the 6 conditions proposed by PPRP. In addition, staff has determined that a change from a transmission to a distribution interconnection requires an amendment to the CPCN to require the filing of a signed interconnection agreement and wholesale market participation agreement as noted by the company in its filing. Accordingly, staff recommends the Commission grant One Energy Dorchester LLC's request to amend the CPCN by extending by 3 years the construction and operation deadlines set forth in Appendix A, PPRP Condition Number 3, conditioned on the following: that the company adheres to PPRP's additional requirements as listed in PPRP's May 7, 2018 letter to the Commission, and the grant of staff's request to amend Appendix B, Staff Condition Number 2 in the CPCN to require One Energy to file with the Commission its signed interconnection agreement and wholesale market participation agreement.
Thank you. Do any commissioners wish to be recognized? Commissioner Herman.
Good morning, Mr. Wilson.
Morning.
Do you have any idea, and I believe the company's here, so we can ask them this as well. There's a lot of, ifs, when they're going to file a site plan, and then there's going to be a public meeting within 30 days after that, and then PPRP is going to have some review of those conditions. Do we have a time frame for this? And Mr. Chasen, if you want to introduce yourself, perhaps you can help.
Good morning, Commissioners. Todd Chasen on behalf of One Energy Dorchester. Wasn't sure whether your question was directed to me or staff.
I suspect you're probably better suited to answer this particular question.
We'll find out. We expect that the site plan approval is going to occur sometime this late summer or early fall, so September or October. That's really sort of the gating item. Once, as I think you've correctly interpreted, that condition is met, then the rest of the conditions will follow from that.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Wilson, the recommendation is that we approve the extension based on these conditions, and these conditions have conditions, right?
Correct.
And so what we're approving it, but then they're going to be coming back potentially with additional conditions that we will need to approve. Is that, do I have that right?
That's what I anticipate, and I assume that's what PPRP also anticipates. They are also here and can speak to that if they care to.
Okay. Yeah, I think that would be great if someone's from PPRP is here.
Good morning. Steve Tolson, counsel for PPRP. I believe, Commissioner Herman, that you're correct, that we anticipate, as we stated in our letter, that once we see the updated site plan with the change in the interconnection things, that we would have to come back again to the Commission then and seek revision of the conditions. But Bob Sadinsky, who's the project manager for that, is here, and he can go into any details that you may have on that.
Good morning, Bob Sadinsky, PPRP.
So, do you anticipate that there will be additional conditions, or you just, at this point, you don't know?
I don't know until I see the updated or the finalized site plan,
Okay.
but I would anticipate some.
You would anticipate some. And it sounds to me, One Energy Dorchester Dorchester in LLC has been working with PPRP, and everybody's working together on this project.
Yes, ma'am.
Amicably, yes? Okay, thank you.
Madam Commissioner, if I might just, over on this side.
Oh, there you are, yes.
I think that probably what we're going to be looking at are actually edits and amendments to the existing conditions. The idea here is that once we have the new site plan approved, once we've shown them the new design, it's going to be more or less a redlining of the conditions that are currently attached to our CPCN. I don't necessarily anticipate that there'll be anything that's new and different, but because there's an evolutionary process to the CPCN approvals in Maryland, and so this one having been approved 3 years ago, we anticipate that there will be some fairly minor but important edits and changes once we have that information. So I think that's in the nature of what the Commission can expect to come back, is an edited version of the conditions to the CPCN.
Right, and One Energy Dorchester is committed to working with PPRP to, to move this forward and to hopefully agree on conditions in the future that we're conditioning this extension on.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate that.
Commissioner Linton.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, everyone. I had a question about the extension of the deadline under Appendix A. It appears to be more than just that. I mean, we obviously are also changing utility companies. So in the original filing by the applicant, there's obviously language in here suggesting that they're still negotiating with Choptank. So is there an update on that? Do we have an update on what the current status is of that negotiation?
So the reason for the change is because Choptank does not own transmission level. I'm sorry, I've got them backwards now. The original utility and the change to this one is because of the different level of voltage that we're going to be interconnecting. The interconnection agreements are under negotiation and will be approved at some point down the road, but that's, again, one of those conditions that then triggers the rest of the process thereafter. So nothing can happen. We can't begin construction until that's done.
So are we anticipating any other changes to the application after the interconnection agreement is approved?
That's correct. My client is whispering in my ear that we do have a memorandum of understanding with Choptank, so we have reached that part of the discussion. We need to finalize that into a mature agreement. But no, we're not anticipating any other changes. There's a change to the interconnection. The substation location will move based on that. We'll be updating the conditions to the CPCN to current standards, and I expect that when all is said and done, and hopefully we get to the finish line on this project, those are all the differences from what was originally approved to what will be finally constructed.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, I had just one question. It's also just trying to understand the process, and this is probably for PPRP. There's going to be another public hearing. If something comes out of that public hearing, I mean, you were talking about these could be, or we've heard that it could be just minor changes, but would there be an opportunity for PPRP in the process we're discussing, and that is more or less an extension? Does this go beyond an extension and allowing for meaningful look at the CPCN? Should there be something that comes out of that public hearing?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good. The other is, it looks, if I'm reading this correctly, we're talking about an extension even out to 2022 to 2024. Does this, by holding this in place, does this inhibit any other project for potentially, being considered in this area? Or, I mean, is there any risk that by doing this, we are maybe holding up another project? Or
No, sir, not to my knowledge.
okay, very good. Thank you. Are there any other questions for any of the parties? Great. Is there a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I'd move that we grant One Energy Dorchester LLC's request to amend the CPCN by extending the construction and operation deadlines for 3 years set forth in Appendix A, PPRP Condition Number 3, condition on the following: that One Energy adheres to PPRP's additional requirements as listed in PPRP's May 7th, 2018 letter to the Commission, and grant staff's request to amend Appendix B, Staff Condition Number 2 in the CPCN to require One Energy Dorchester LLC to file with the Commission a signed interconnection agreement and wholesale market participation agreement.
Great. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item, item number 4, is Chop Tank Electric Cooperative Inc. filed revised tariff pages. The company proposes for its new charges to become effective for bills rendered on and after June 1, 2018. It's case number 9459.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Kenneth Albert on behalf of staff. Again, this item addresses a compliance filing filed by Chop Tank in response to the Commission's April 2018 decision in Chop Tank's base rate case filing in 9459. As explained in the comments, staff has reviewed the compliance filing and believes that it does comply with the Commission's directives in their rate case decision. Therefore, staff recommends that the Commission accept the tariff sheets with an effective date of June 1, 2018.
Great, thank you. Do any commissioners wish to be recognized for questions? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move we accept the tariff revisions with an effective date of June 1st, 2018.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I think we can take items 5, 6, 7, and 8 collectively together. These are filings from the Potomac Edison Company, the Baltimore Gas and Electric Company, Delmarva Power and Light Company, and the Potomac Electric Power Company. They're all tariff changes. The companies proposed to update their residential Type 1 and Type 2 and other rates as applicable associated with the SOS filings.
Peter Wilson again for the staff. Each of these 4 utilities has filed revised tariff pages for the Commission's approval for standard offer service, SOS, rates for Type 1 and Type 2 customers to be effective June 1, 2018. In addition, BGE has included revised SOS tariffs for residential, electric vehicle, and private area lighting classes, as well as revisions to charges in the transmission rate and administration charge. The revised tariffs are the result of the previously conducted SOS bidding process held on October 16, 2017 and April 23, 2018, after which staff presented bill impacts to the Commission. The staff has reviewed the revised tariff pages and concludes that they are consistent with the previously reported bill impacts, comport with the bids as accepted by the Commission on October 20, 2017 and April 27, 2018, and are accurately and correctly calculated. The revised tariffs generally result in lower rates and expected lower customer bills as set forth in detail in the staff's comments. Accordingly, staff recommends that the Commission accept each of the revised tariffs for filing with an effective date of June 1, 2018.
Do any commissioners wish to be recognized for questions? Commissioner Herman.
Mr. Wilson, with respect to, this is about the BG transmission rate. So I noticed that on page 9 of the staff comments on the BGE rates that they list, or that you list the, for a residential customer under Schedule R using 1,000 kilowatt hours per month, you know, what that there's a rate decrease. Is 1,000 the current standard for BGE? I thought we had seen some changes in other companies, and I was just wondering if BGE was still using 1,000 for everything, or...
Mr. Hoppick.
Yes. Good morning, David Hoppick for Commission staff. I believe the use of 1,000 kilowatt hours is kind of the measure of the change in bills has been used continuously over time, such that we just have a constant number to compare against.
Right.
It is correct that I believe median and average demand has decreased below 1,000, but if we use the same set consumption, it just facilitates comparison over time. There's basically one element changing as opposed to two.
Right, okay, that's what I figured, but I just wanted to check and make sure. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Would
Office of People's Counsel, care to be recognized?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, William Fields for the Office of People's Counsel. We do not have any objection to these specific rates. However, for BGE item number 6 and the changes to the administrative charge, as you're aware, we've talked about this before. OPC has the original orders on the administrative charge under appeal, and it's pending before the Court of Special Appeals. And as the company has updated this charge over time, we have filed letters continuing our objection going back to those original orders. Most recently, we filed the letter January 29th, 2018, renewing our objection. We didn't file a letter this time, but I wanted to say for the record to preserve our rights for anything that may come in the future with respect to that appeal, that we do continue to object, and we still feel that the rates that are filed provide BGE with effectively 2 returns on the same cash working capital asset, which we feel is unreasonable and results in unreasonable rates, the rates that are before you. And again, Your Honor, I'm only saying this to really put it on the record and preserve our rights, since we have said this a number of times before under the same circumstances. I can't say that there's any change in circumstances here. What I'd like to ask, Your Honor, is leave to file a letter today just to repeat what I've said, repeat what we said in the past about this, in order to be sure that the record's clear that we're continuing our objection, again, should it become relevant in the future pending this appeal that we have.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does the company wish to be heard?
Kim Curry, representing Baltimore Gas and Electric Company. No objection to OPC filing a letter. We would just ask that it not hold up any approval that you're going to give if you give it today on our filing.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for OPC or for the company?
I'd just like to state for the record, we don't know what the letter will specifically say. Not having seen it, we understand what the Office of People's Counsel has said, but I would just like to state on the record that that letter will have no bearing on the decisions we're making here in this administrative meeting. It can't, because we haven't seen it.
Your Honor, the only thing that I want to accomplish with the letter is restating what I've said here this morning, that we maintain our objection that, as we've said before, the rates provide 2 returns on the same asset, and we feel that's unreasonable. It's the same issue we've raised since 2016 on this, but I understand your point.
Understood. I'm just stating for the record that the said letter will have no bearing on decisions made here this morning.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Donnell. Commissioner Linden? If there are no further questions, is there a motion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, for items numbered 5, number 6, number 7, and number 8, I move the Commission accept the tariff revisions for filing with an effective date of June 1, 2018 for all 4 items.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I think we can also take items number 9 and 10 together. These are filings from Baltimore Gas and Electric Company. Item number 9 is supplement number 446 to PSC Maryland G9, and item 10 is supplement number 615 to PSC Maryland E6. It's associated with the purchase of receivables.
Good morning, Commissioners. Annette Garofalo on behalf of Commission staff. Baltimore Gas and Electric Company has filed tariffs revising the discount rates to be charged to retail electricity and gas suppliers for commodity charges that are purchased under Comar 2053-0506 and 2059-0506. POR discount rates reflect costs incurred by the utility to provide POR service to choice customers on behalf of retail suppliers. Consistent with Commission orders on this matter and BGE's tariff, BGE's proposed POR discount rates are comprised of programming cost, an uncollectible cost component based on actual uncollected cost experience net of write-offs from retail customers, and a reconciliation factor. BGE's electric POR rate also includes a cash working capital allowance. BGE has followed Commission precedent by including late payment revenues in its POR calculation, and where POR discount rates are calculated to be negative, has reduced those rates to zero. For gas, this has resulted in rates of zero for both the residential and the Class C customer classes. For electricity, the new rates will be zero for all customer classes. These classes are the residential class, types 1 and 2, and hourly price service. Staff has reviewed BG&E's filings and recommends that the Commission accept the tariffs as filed to be effective June 1, 2018.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for staff? If not, I see the company. Ms. Curry?
Good morning again. Kim Curry representing BGE. I'm just available for questions.
Great. Are there any questions for the company? Okay. If not, is there a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. For items number 9 and number 10, I move that we accept the tariff revisions for filing with an effective date of June 1st, 2018.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Last item on the agenda, item number 11. It's the Potomac Edison Company filed revised tariff pages. It's PSC Maryland number 54. Again, the company proposes update its discount rates for the purchase of receivables.
This is similar to the previous item, however, it applies to Potomac Edison. Potomac Edison's POR discount rates reflect costs incurred by the electric company to provide POR service to choice customers on behalf of retail suppliers. Their filing is consistent with Commission orders in this matter and its tariff. Potomac Edison has followed Commission precedent by including late payment revenues in its POR calculation, and where POR discount rates are calculated to be negative, has reduced these rates to zero. Any over or under collection of POR rates has been calculated to earn interest at the same rate as customer deposits and not at the company's rate of return. Based on collection experience in the past 12 months, Potomac Edison has increased its POR rate for the coming rate effective period from 0 to 0.4643% for residential customers. The commercial classes, type 1, type 2, and hourly priced service remain at zero. Staff has reviewed PE's filing and recommends that the Commission accept the tariffs as filed to be effective June 1, 2018.
Great, thank you. Do any commissioners wish to be recognized for questions? I also do see the company, Mr. Trout, in the audience, if we have questions for him. No? If not, is there a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move we accept the tariff revisions for filing with an effective date of June 1st, 2018.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And with that, I'd be remiss if I did not thank the staff for their excellent presentations and the analysis they provided today, and we are adjourned.